welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, the Star Trek podcast.
Woo!
My name is Caitlin, and with me tonight are...
Jake. Chris.
And Ames.
And we're here
Hi,
for
Jake.
episode 127.
Whoa.
What in the butts?
Whoa. No.
Isn't it that movie where the guy got his arm trapped?
Oh,
That's-
yeah.
yeah,
Is that
yeah.
127?
In a butt?
127 hours.
Yeah, in a butt. No, he had to hack off his own arm because he got his shit stuck while he was out, mountain
Hiking,
climbing.
yeah.
Dislike.
Yeah,
hard,
no,
hard
agree.
dislike.
Why do you think I don't ever want to go hiking and shit? You don't know what could happen.
Listen, that stuff can happen anywhere. That could happen in your
It could
fridge
happen
by accident.
right here.
You reach into the fridge, the door closes on
I
you.
have
Oh
to chop
no!
off my arm because
There's
Black
only this-
Cat won't let me
There's
out.
only this bread knife in reach.
Ugh. Anyway, we're here today to talk about 2 episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation. First, in Frame of Mind, Riker's crazy!
Woo!
Or
Nothing
is
new,
he?
Nothing new there.
Basically, this is just a episode where
The beard grew into the brain.
Riker gets gaslighted a lot.
Mm.
And is made to think that it sort of reminds me a little bit of Inner Light in that in the beginning he is very much on the Enterprise, and then suddenly he's in a mental institution where they're trying to convince him that that's all just been a fantasy.
Oh, it reminded me an awful lot of the one where he had a son randomly, and the son's
Oh.
trying to
Oh,
convince
Yeah,
him
what was that called?
Yeah, the alien with his little hollow projectors.
Yeah.
Future Imperfect.
Yeah,
There we
I
go.
remember that one a lot. Because also it meant that it was like, oh no, your memories are wrong, and Minuet's your wife, and isn't she hot?
Yeah, this is sort of like, this is Riker's Inner Light, but it's really dark.
Yeah, but it sucks. Inner Dark.
Really, I like a lot of it.
No, I meant his.
Oh, it
his,
sucks
for him.
for him. Okay.
Yeah, no, I thought this was an okay episode of
Yeah.
the 2 for sure.
I love watching Riker go insane.
See, I'd actually written, it's a little inner light, it's a little schisms, and I feel like maybe one more thing, but I don't know what. That's what. It's
Future Imperfect?
Future Imperfect. So you put those 3 in a blender, hit liquefy,
Add some ice cubes.
yeah, and you got this episode.
Riker was doing some stuff with his eyes that I didn't even realize you could do to act. I feel like he was managing to, have his eyes, doing the opposite of crossing randomly
Going wall-eyed.
to show his craziness. I was like, holy shit.
And it reminds me, I don't know if you saw the post I shared, but that TOS actor passed away recently. He was a guest star twice. He was the...
Van Gelder?
Van Gelder.
Okay.
And he was the crazy space captain that one other episode. The terrible,
I have no idea what thing you shared, so...
Oh, yeah, but he always just played a really great crazy. And it was like, oh, sad to report this actor died. And my first reaction was like, wait, what? He was alive? He was old in the 60s.
That's true. How old was he?
94, which means he was younger in the 60s than I thought.
Wow.
Sorry, you made me think of that 'cause you have crazy eyes.
No, that's fine. That's really... I've pretty much described the whole episode, right? I mean, that's basically it. We spend the whole time,
I mean, there's so much
Well, yeah, there's,
delusion of what is real and what isn't, and the
Yeah.
answer is probably nothing. Nothing is real. I am not real. Caitlin, you're not real. We're living in a Cyclops' eye.
Oh my god, it's Inception.
But yeah, so...
Get your top.
Basically, Riker is acting in a play wherein he is a crazy person, and what happens to him in this episode is, basically just mirroring his experience in this show, kinda.
So none of what we... the impression I was none of what we saw in the episode until he was ripping himself out of the bed at the end.
Yeah, until
was
he actually
real.
does wake up, pull the thing out of his head, and grab the knife that they left conveniently nearby with his
seriously.
communicator.
But,
Idiots! If you're gonna fucking abduct somebody,
Yeah.
take away their things.
Yeah. Well, you know...
Well, they had him so drugged, they probably didn't expect him to fight
You
his
don't
way out.
understand. You understand, Bill Riker has to register his hands as deadly weapons. So even if they hadn't left the knife, he'd just been
I like
chopping.
how when he beams out, the guy's just like, shut.
Yeah, seriously. Well...
Everyone's always trying to abduct Riker.
Yeah.
Do you think these guys wanted to fuck him also?
Mm-hmm. It's that beard.
Yeah, so the
Are we done with
motivations...
the synopsis? I can't tell.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just like this episode,
we're
when
done.
reality, where
Yeah,
the
no,
synopsis ends, when reality.
I was done with the synopsis after my first 8-second thing. Like, that's basically the whole synopsis. We spend our whole time wondering, like, what's real and what's not.
Yep.
But it sounds,
Which is fun.
nothing is real. All of it was his imagination.
Although it sounds like his imagination was, like, the impression I was under was there definitely had been a play he was in where he played a crazy.
Yeah.
I want to see that play.
But he was in a play where he played a crazy, and then his brain, because of what they were doing to him in the medical lab,
He was dreaming mostly.
Yeah, his brain was conflating the play with reality.
So it's also a little bit shades of gray.
Yeah. So it definitely, like, because at first you're kind of like, oh, so they created this. It actually is a gaslight. Like the aliens were actually trying to convince him that he was mental, because that would make.
What were the aliens
doing
exactly?
So
because they weren't making him have these memories.
No.
These memories were just happening because of the stuff.
They were basically probing him, trying to get information out of him, because they
information
caught him
about what? Because this was about this.
How many
bacteria are in his ass?
How many starships in that quadrant?
So this is like a local planet-bound civil war. Federation tactical information doesn't fucking matter to them. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. So when we start the episode, even that is the dream.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure that like from the word go, we are already in Fantasyland. The only reality is the very end when he yanks himself out of the bed and then very inefficiently destroys the stage.
I actually wonder if the first couple of scenes we see, if not being the truth, or at least very close to the truth.
Yeah, I'd say
because,
that.
having a rehearsal with Bev, I'm sure that actually
That
happened.
is the stuff of nightmares.
Because Bev is a terrible acting
It does
coach.
check out,
Being briefed on this adventure he's supposed to be going on for the Telonian culture things.
Yeah.
I wrote a note. Most of his briefing on Telonian culture is in their mating habits, wink wink. That didn't come to pass.
Oh, but it is definitely, even if it is close to the truth, it's definitely still not real, though, because that is the first time we see the, like...
Oh, yeah, we see the guy.
Dude,
him
Lieutenant
encountering
Suna.
the dude.
Yeah, he's in the hall. Yeah, what's interesting is, so the main alien, the guy that we see on the ship a lot, and who turns out in the dream to be the hospital administrator, but who's also the scientist or whatever, probing his brain. We know the other big alien character that we see a lot of is that big galoot guy. It's
the orderly.
The orderly.
Yeah.
And he doesn't seem to exist. He must have just been some guy that Riker saw on the planet.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe it's one of the guys that attacked him.
Maybe.
Would make sense, because he makes
held him down
fairly...
and put the thing in his head.
Because that guy was the most interesting of the aliens to me.
Interesting in what way?
Well,
he didn't do much.
But he had that like weird sadistic Nurse Ratched feel
Yeah.
to him.
He was
They all a little bit did.
Well, yeah, but he was the most overtly a dick.
Yeah, the psychiatrist...
Cyrus?
Yeah, he seemed to be like... Again, now we're all talking about imaginations. Like... Data, he was presumably the Data character, I guess, in the play.
Yeah.
The Data
because he was questioning him a lot.
But Data was way more sinister.
Yeah, true.
Than that.
Well,
like
Data
that guy actually.
Data can do whatever he wants with his voice, because he can just be like Picard if he wants to, and have that voice.
I guess the thing is like
the
doctor in the dream in the institution, of the institution people, he seemed the least sadistic.
Yeah. You'd think that he's actually trying to help Riker through this thing.
Yeah, but that again could just be good cop, bad cop. But again, we're talking about a dream, so who knows?
Which, actually, that does explain quite a few things. Who wants to bet the actual play didn't go that well?
I've seen plays go worse.
I just mean
the actor yelling into the audience, "It's your fault, isn't it? It's you!"
Well, the first time. Because I have a note where everyone's like going ape shit for at the end. And I was
people were actually yelling, "Bravo!"
Yeah, and I was
but
all right,
really...
stop kissing the first officer's ass. He wasn't that good.
Well, the Bravos weren't that good.
Well, that's true, too.
His performance was probably about as good as those Bravos suggested.
I'm just saying, but it does make sense now.
But I loved some of the shots in this where, like, he turns the audience and everyone's clapping.
Oh, Picard was my favorite audience member. Yeah. He was so cute. He was just like, "Yes, we clap. It's so great."
It really sold the something's fucked up here vibe. I'm surprised they didn't do anything really with the wide angle, the fisheye.
I know.
I think they found like nice equivalents of weird angles to play with and weird lighting to play with that you didn't have to do the because fisheye is a Spock thing. You got to use it on Spock and nobody else.
Fisheye crazy.
And then the the scene where he is in the play talking to Data, but he turns around and he's in the cell, and then he turns back and still Data, and then he turns around again and it's the cell, and then the clapping. Like, I don't know. I just thought that the sound design and the camera work and like the way that the director, the DP, or whoever was figuring out these shots,
DP,
Director of photography.
yeah, the camera guy. The way that they figured out how to kind of play with our reality.
Yeah.
By changing that location in the way that they did. And it's unusual to see that in Star Trek. Normally you would expect there to be some trickery where like they would have half the set and then they'd move it and but they just did it with cuts.
Yeah.
Until it started breaking down and they had that really shitty
glass shattering. Not a good one. I think they chose that. They chose that because they didn't want to do an effect they had used in a previous episode or some shit.
They should have gone with that.
Or a different show.
That effect.
Seen.
Well, that and like they
did
probably
not work.
They had just bought it and they were so excited to show it off.
It felt like
let's be honest.
It felt like a PowerPoint.
In 1992,
transition.
Yeah, didn't
that was probably mind blowing, especially on television.
Maybe.
But now it's just like, oh, that didn't age well.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was the highlight of the episode for me, was just how well they sold it. And I can remember...
Yeah. And Frakes does a great job with it, too.
This is an episode that I can
really
remember seeing. I feel like this one I probably saw for the first time later when it was airing on WNDS, The Winds of New England.
High pressure.
Al Caprillion. Because they used to air TNG and I'd watch it a lot in the evenings. And I can remember... There was certainly a lot of episodes that I had seen for the first time, and this is one where it's just like, what the fuck's going on? And he meets the woman in the lounge area
Jaya,
who's like,
fucking
let me pull out my communicator. It's a spoon.
Did you notice he used the doctor gave him the spoon afterwards after collecting it from Jaya? He gives Riker the spoon to eat whatever filth they had given him, and I'm thinking, Riker, don't use that. You don't know what the fuck she did with it.
Jaya.
Yeah. What does it mean, like asshole or
fuck
something?
me.
Fuck me, yeah.
Oh.
And what?
Fuck me.
I don't
Fuck
know.
you. It's that curve. It's that curve.
Yeah.
It's a curve
Curve.
episode where like Richard lends him his like mantra.
No, he lends. Yeah.
Oh,
he
to
lends
Richard,
to
and then he tries to take it back, and it turns out
It means fuck
Fuck
me.
Nice. I think the element that did not work for me in this episode was embodying all of Riker's emotional aspects with a character.
as crew members.
And then, Troy shows up, and she's like, I'm here to be your emotional side.
I am the goddess of empathy.
Worf shows up, I'm here to be the side of you that wants to attack. Oh, you gotta think about this logically. And I'm thinking, Data.
Data. Yeah, I thought the same thing. Why? Why would you do Picard?
Because they didn't give us Patrick Stewart enough to do this episode?
What is it, in his contract? Just pay him. Who cares?
Yeah, that scene fell a little
It felt like they just needed things for the other cast members to do.
Kinda.
I liked having Bev and Worf in their quote-unquote break-in, which turned out not to even be a fucking break-in because it was all in his fucking head, and that's a nice twist. I liked that. That felt realistic, but having, Troy and Worf and Picard talking through, what did we do next? I felt scared. I wanted to run away.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense, and it wasn't, getting to the crux of anything. It was just weird, repetitive nonsense.
I mean, I think the break-in and the let's visit with the crew therapy session, I think were both intended to be like, this is Riker's subconscious fighting back against the psychological whatever the fuck is going on.
That's true, because they kept telling him, this isn't real.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, that makes sense. I buy that.
But what's interesting also is that the crew... The Enterprise, I don't think they even realized anything was wrong. They just assumed he was just on his mission.
Yeah, because when he finally radios at the end, saying, "Get me the fuck out of here!"
Yeah.
They're like, "Where have you been?
Yeah.
Did you get some ice cream?"
So he went down for his mission, and then they just stayed up there and waited.
So far, we sent Riker on 2 solo undercover missions. And it does not go well either time.
Hey, in First Contact, he got to bang a lady.
Yeah, but I don't know how into it he was.
Super into it.
It's true. She had
See,
those...
for a second I thought you were talking about the movie because I forgot there was an episode called First
Yeah,
Contact.
it was a bad decision.
And I was
for
like,
title.
no, only
It was.
Data got to bang any ladies in that movie.
Nice.
Of course,
It is
first
gross.
episode, like, I don't know, was a much better episode.
First episode is, first episode.
Yeah, first
contact is great.
I love First Contact. This one is fine.
I like this episode. I mean, it's like I say, I don't think it's gonna win any kind of best episode awards, but I do like
It's
it.
the way that they did psychological horror best
Yeah.
that they've done it in Star Trek, because I know they've tried a couple of times.
Oh yeah,
And
with
mostly
nightmares or what
horribly
the fuck?
failed.
What the fuck was that horrible?
Schisms.
Night
No, Night
Terrors.
Terrors. There it is. The one with
Yo,
Troy.
Schism's
I'm
awful.
trying to find you. And again, she was probably legitimately terrified by that episode because
Poor
heights.
bastard.
But the rest of us were just kind of like, nah, it was stupid.
Yeah, I mean, for season 6, it's good.
Yeah, season 6 has been kind of all over the place.
Oh my
There's
god.
been a few like bright moments. There's still a few good things coming up,
Oh, that's good.
but yeah, it has been
Kind of meh.
kind of meh.
Kinda meh.
Yeah, no, you
It's-
can definitely, like, tell they were dividing their focus.
I agree.
Yeah.
Now, is season 7 better or worse?
Again, I think the consistency continues to drop. But there's again, season 7 has some fantastic episodes, but it also has some real bad.
So it's
ones.
sort of like TOS season 3, where there's like some hidden gems, but also just a
Yeah.
lot of trash.
I mean, don't get me wrong, this is still a far better season than either seasons 1 or 2,
Yeah.
but it's definitely a noticeable drop in quality from its predecessors.
Yeah, I even know this episode they kind of cobbled together fairly quickly because other episodes weren't working, and I think the literal idea was, okay, what if Riker wakes up in an insane asylum? And they're like, yeah.
no, that's it.
That's all I've got so
it
far.
is.
Work on it, and I forget who wrote this. They let him write it for like 3 days. Checked in. He gave them the synopsis, and they're like, "All right, great, we'll do that."
Yeah, sounds about right. All right, we're still in the yellow, but I don't know how much else we have to say about this.
Not a lot. It was just.
Frakes did mostly a good job, but there's that one big no he had to shout at one
I
point.
wrote
Oh, that was a
that. I
bad
wrote that
Where
down.
it's like, oh, don't
Riker,
hurt
are you
yourself.
No!
What was that? No.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Like, he was definitely delivering. I'm not Frakes, but Riker was delivering his lines better before Bev gave him direction.
Bev's a terrible
She's,
director.
you know, I now understand why people like flee her productions. Like, he was giving like it was a more restrained and nuanced performance, and then he was just shouting. It's like, Jesus, Bev. I was in a play like that once though. Someone gave a really good early read, but then the director just had them tear out any kind of subtlety. It was so sad.
Was it Jake? It was Jake, wasn't
Probably.
it?
Not something I would.
Anyway, what I did read was that Brannon Braga took inspiration from Roman Polanski's Repulsion, and I couldn't find the movie somewhere accessible to watch it, but I read the synopsis of it, and it sounds really fucking weird, because Roman Polanski.
Yeah.
It's about like a girl who's afraid of intimacy and afraid of like being around other people, and she lives with her sister and her sister's boyfriend, and they go out of town for a while, and she starts having what may be hallucinations, and you're not sure, and then a guy who's into her comes over, and she accidentally kills him and hides him in the tub.
Like
and,
you do.
and the sister and the boyfriend come back, and they're like, why is her body in the fucking tub?
Man, the fucking Manson murders really fucked that guy up.
Yeah.
What guy?
Roman Polanski.
Roman?
Yeah. I mean, he's a creeper,
Yeah, he's awful.
but like, at the same time, it's like, yeah, but he went through some shit.
I do kind of I feel like probably the sex pest stuff would have happened regardless.
Yeah, probably.
All right.
Yeah, I have very little on this episode, except I wanted to see if Frame of Mind was a real play. Frame of Mind is a play they made up for the episode, but I bet you there are some Trekkies out there that retconned it and turned it into an actual play.
And I'm sure it's terrible.
I would like to see it.
I know, but I mean, I'm just I just imagine Trekkies trying to extrapolate those few bits into a full play, and they'd fuck it up somehow.
I feel like it would be like Psychosis for
Oh, that
Whatever
with
it
the
is.
numbers.
Was that the Sarah Kane play?
Kane, yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's out of her mind.
There was some
Yeah,
stupid,
that's what I hear.
It was a really bad episode I saw movie with Jim Carrey where he was like, it was kind of like,
number 23.
yeah.
It's funny, I've never seen it, but I was like, the only movie I could think of that probably fit the bill.
He's
was
like
number
losing his mind and he keeps
The number
seeing-
23 is everywhere.
Yeah. That was a Joel Schumacher movie.
Should have been a Joel didn't mocker.
That's most of his movies.
That's correct.
Anyway, let's get back to Star Trek.
Wow.
Star
We have
Trek.
One more episode to talk about. What's the other episode this week, Caitlin?
The other episode this week, oh god, can we just go back to talking about anything but this? The next episode is Suspicions. In Suspicions, Bev is trying to do a really shitty, like, hardened detective private eye narration voice over the way...
It was a cold and drafty night.
In my vagina.
Yikes. Basically, Bev has been fired because she
Bye, bitch.
got like a summit of scientists together to check out
Don't know why it's her job.
this awesome metaphasic shielding technique, which has been discovered by Dr. Rega, who is a Ferengi scientist, which is basically an oxymoron, as he points out, or whatever.
I liked him.
I did
He was-
too.
Yeah, no, he was
And
great.
he's the first Ferengi we've met who isn't a total piece of shit.
That's because he's a scientist.
Yeah.
But
we
anyway,
met a scientist Klingon who was still a piece of shit. So
he's Dr. Rega's got this awesome new thing, whereupon a modded out shuttle with this monophasic shielding device can literally fly right the fuck into a star without the shuttle, like, you know, melting and subsequently the human being or
And the radiation,
alien
too,
person
yeah.
inside of it. And it's awesome. We're like, sweet, this is great. But nobody's taking him seriously because they're a bunch of racists. So Bev's like, all right, well, I'm going to get some people together. We'll check it out. And the interesting group she gets together are Joe Brill, which is a Tacharon.
sure.
Tacharon?
Pokemon. I wrote it down. I
Joe
don't
Brill,
remember even
who's
hearing
a
it.
Pokemon. Doctors Christopher and Tapan, who are a human and Vulcan married couple. And then Kurak, who is a Klingon. They decide that they get together, they want to test it out. Rega offers to show them it definitely works, but they're like, no, we need somebody else, because you're going to be all biased and shit. I don't know how they would possibly fake that, but fine.
You're fake flying into the corona.
You fake made it work.
Fucking liar. So, Joe Brill offers to do it, and whilst he is doing it, something has happened, and there's lots of barium in the,
Barium.
wasn't it?
Like a barium enema?
What was it?
It was baryons, wasn't it?
I thought it was,
Sure.
I thought it was actually barium.
Made up eons.
It was some kind of eons.
Was it baryons then?
I think so.
Unobtainium.
Unobtainions.
I think it was the things that they were sweeping off of the Enterprise.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would make sense.
Whatever, some sort of shit gets into the shuttle, and he has to turn back, and
Fails.
as soon as he gets back on the ship, he croaks. Bev is like, I don't even really know, like, she's like, oh no, this is really sad, and she has to shut Dr. Rega down. She's like, nope, we're not going to fund this anymore. Somebody died, so we're done here. And then Rega totes gets killed or kills himself. We don't know which. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Obviously, he didn't kill himself. It's dumb. Because he sounded really, really into proving that it was going to work. So, fucking Bev decides to play doctor/detective.
Doctor-tive.
Dectator. I don't know. It doesn't work. Just doesn't work. So she's trying to prove that he was murdered. And Picard is like, okay, but whatever you do, don't give him an autopsy, because if you do that, it's going to really piss off his family. They got to do some stupid rites. And she's like, lol, whatever, and cuts that motherfucker open anyway.
Yeah. So that's really why she was fired, was because of that.
Yes.
Because the Ferengi weren't already pissed at us enough.
So then she decides, they had one fucking scientist and she kills him. Nice job. So she's like, hey, Picard, I was really drunk last night and I totally did an autopsy on Dr. Rega. And Picard's like, what the fuck, Beverly? You're fired. And Guinan comes to visit, and Beverly's like in a bad mood, and Guinan's like, whatever, bitch, what are they gonna do? Fire you again? Go solve the thing. And that's what she does, because she's blazing Bev.
Like that you're following that meme.
I don't know why, like, for some reason, her being blazing Bev just really works for me.
It's
has
alliteration.
It's the only way I can not hate
It
her.
has apparently spread to outside of that group.
I assumed it was just a thing.
No, it started there.
Oh.
So this episode.
Here's the thing about, okay, I have a thing on this episode I want to say. Because
Okay.
it wasn't in Caitlin's synopsis, and I think it's the thing that ruins this episode.
All
I
of it?
mentioned the narration.
Yeah, it's the narration, it's this fucking framing thing, because the whole episode
Completely.
it's told in flashback, which
Yeah, not
has
necessary.
I don't think we've seen ever.
Well,
Once.
because they are trying to do like
Yeah,
the
detective
noir
detective
thing.
thing, this
yeah.
noir.
Well, what's really
bullshit.
pisses me
what
off
sucks
is the framing device is unnecessary, and then
It's
they
just trying-
abandon it 3/4 of the way
It's
through.
her doing this fucking expository bullshit where she's explaining everything where they could have just started
Yep.
at the fucking beginning
Yep.
and shown and not told. which
Also one of
might
my
have been
notes,
nice.
yep.
And I think it's because they realized very late that they had Whoopi for this episode, and it's like the only episode she was available for. So like,
Yeah,
oh
why
god,
do we keep wasting Whoopi on
Let's
garbage
use Whoopi
episodes?
in here.
The thing is, she wasn't even at that much. She still could have come in and had the same scene. It's went towards the end instead of in the beginning.
yeah. And it would have had the same.
Same impact.
You gotta keep working on it, Bev.
And again, if you're gonna do the flashback thing, you need to
Come
do
on,
it
Bev, don't
for
give up.
most of the episode, like basically all of it. Not,
Well, it eventually caught up with where she was in the present.
but it caught up. Usually when people do that, it catches up at the climax. Here it caught up 3/4 of the way in.
I don't know. That's what they did in Spaceballs.
Touche.
That scene where it's like literally,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
happening right now.
But
Now
that's
is
clever.
Yes. Yeah. No, I hated the narration immediately.
Oh god.
No, it's
and it
so
was just
bad.
It was just Bev being lazy.
It
and-
was redundant. There was that one scene where she was like, and I've run into a lot of weird species or whatever. And then her first line to Picard is like, I've never run into a like this before. It's like, wow. Great. Fucking great. Well done, writers.
Well,
Yeah.
she said she's run into a lot. She didn't say she's run into all of them.
What I mean
Shit.
is no, but the fact that she said run in, like, is in the last line of the voiceover, and then is the first line she says in the scene is the phrase run in.
Yeah, I would totally buy that this was written as just a regular episode, and then the Whoopi thing happened, and
Yeah.
they were, like had
I
to
know.
retrofit this framing story on it.
Yeah, I know this episode this episode was originally like 5 different things before it turned into this.
Jesus.
It was originally going to be a Worf plot instead of a Crusher plot, but they realized we've had Worf in too many episodes that he's
Did
in
we really have
he's in
too
most
much
of them
Worf?
now. Let's put somebody else in.
He would have made more sense, as a detective.
You know what? It
though.
would have made way more sense if this were a Geordie episode and Aquil
Yeah.
was a Doctor episode.
Actually, yeah, I'd buy that. I'd buy all of that.
Yeah, so she goes to this conference for
For
some
no
reason.
reasons, even though she's a
Because
doctor.
it's not a medical conference, and she
It's a-
somehow...
Wait, what
It's
kind
a-
of conference was it? How
it
was
was-
it not a... It must have been a...
No, it was
No,
a physics thing. That's
warp
why...
fields. And yeah,
Yeah, why
metaphysic
did
warp
she
fields.
go to this? Because Geordie was on his honeymoon, that's why.
But then she, so
They were gonna send the fucking, star cartographer there, whatever the fuck, but she was already transferred. They were,
She was already thrown into a firestorm somewhere.
She was already shot out of Affinity.
So yeah, she goes to this conference she has no business going to, is somehow able to go, yes, with my complete lack of training in this field, I can tell this actually is a viable idea. A bunch of physicists...
she's a doctor. I mean, she's not a
She's
complete
a
idiot.
physician,
I've got
not a physicist.
I've got it.
No, but she does some, sorry.
That's all
Go
right.
ahead, Ames, go. I'm sorry.
After she had to give that other Ferengi Umox, she suddenly has big ear fever
There we go.
and was really into
no.
Rhaegar. And also, Rhaegar's like the one nice, not
Yeah, no,
piece
he was
of
great.
shit Ferengi we've
I know,
ever
I was
met.
thinking that. That was she's definitely banging him, right?
Still a close talker like all other Ferengi are, though.
Yeah,
Because he's so short.
Close talk.
Yeah,
Well,
I-
there's even
gotta
a moment
get
we kind of
closer.
gotten really close to her, and I thought he was going to be creepy. It's like, oh no, he's just being a Ferengi.
I
That's
do
just-
think on the part of the writers, it was a good choice to have the scientist be a Ferengi
Yeah.
because we instantly don't trust him.
Oh, yeah, I thought he was wicked full of shit for
Yeah,
sure.
it makes the mystery still a mystery because you're not sure if he's actually
Although
full of
as
shit.
soon as they introduced the very weird looking alien, you're like, yeah, that's the bad guy.
Who, Joe Brill?
Yeah.
I loved his look.
Oh, yeah, he had
his
cool
makeup
makeup.
is phenomenal. In fact, everybody's costumes this episode were all really great, I thought. Everyone looked damn good.
Yeah, Crusher in civilian clothes was interesting.
I liked her little,
Her little dressy dress.
dress
Yeah.
and leggings look. I was into it.
Yeah, that's,
And it wasn't sexualized. You know, how Troy dresses.
But that
Poor
was a
Troy.
thing that was interesting with
Joe Brill.
no, the Ferengi.
Rhaegar.
Rhaegar. Was when he's just when he's saying I just want recognition. Anyone else can have the full rights to this thing, and it's like
That feels...
that's a big thing for a Ferengi to say.
Yeah, there's got to be
true.
some profit in this for you, buddy.
But
I'm sure
no,
he'll
he
license
really-
it for a fee.
Really was just a legit straight up no, I just
Well, yeah, but the recognition would be big. I mean, everybody would be chasing to give him Umox after. Big swinging dick scientist over here.
Yeah, they have to fight through Bev for that, though.
That's true. She's got She's got first rights. She doesn't even actually think his idea is good. She just wants to hit that.
See, the other thing, too, is that, like, this technology, if it works, is fucking huge.
And we will never hear of it again.
But it will, yes, and it,
Yes, and. You're a good improver. Well done.
No, but yeah, we will never hear of it again. And it also is, like, I don't think the Federation would have invited Joe Brill. You know, if this was even a possibility, the Federation...
Oh, they would have kept that shit close.
Yeah.
They would have imprisoned Rhaegar, stolen everything from his brain, and then probably fucking done to him what whomever did to Riker in the last episode.
Because, like, okay, so, yeah, a ship can fly into the sun's corona. That's pretty cool.
It's fucking sick.
But, like, I assume
Thanks,
it works
Joe Brill.
for other things as
We've
well.
all seen
I'm
it,
sure
bitch.
it would also work for, like, you know, other hazardous radiation.
Oh, yeah.
And how often does the Enterprise
yeah.
shields get irradiated
Yep.
and
Yeah,
start to
remember
break
that
down?
planet that only Data could go down on?
Yeah,
Yep.
if you
Ensigns
had...
of Command, I think.
What?
Nice.
I didn't know there was a Tasha Yar planet.
But yes, Ensigns of Command.
Yeah, so, like, radiation is still a big problem for them, and if
Yep.
they had shields that were impervious to it, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and even just, like, I'm sure... Even with all their tech, like, there's probably still only so much you can learn about a sun without being able to get all up into it. Having said that, do
Just
you
ask
really
Data.
think they still need cut-you-open autopsies?
Dude, that's what I said too. We were watching it and I was like, really? You're telling me that that you can't just fucking...
Whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah, you can fucking whoop everything else. You can't fucking whoop this?
Like, Doc in fucking Star Trek 4 is calling trepanning the Dark Ages, but apparently you still need to chop people open to, like, figure out cause of death sometimes? Like, what?
Well,
Fucking
it
what?
sounded... Well, that's true. It was Rhaegar's cause of death, which we still don't know what exactly happened.
I assume Job Lots killed him.
How? Okay, all right.
Job lots.
Let's talk about Joe Brill, whose superpower is
Let's
he
talk
can
about
play
job
possum
lots.
as much as he fucking wants, but then also leave medbay, crawl out of the freezer he's in,
Yeah.
and go do whatever he wants without anyone ever noticing.
Oh, and he
All
gets
out of the
to
freezer.
reenact not murder by death. Death becomes
Good
her.
band. Oh yeah, I liked that with the hole in the stomach.
Yeah. Like, I get that his system's decentralized, but I felt like that might have been over-egging the pudding. Like, I think if he just had, like, a severe burn on his chest, I'd be like, yeah, sure. But you could literally see through him. It's like, I don't care how decentralized your organs are, she just disintegrated part of your spine. You are not okay.
Listen, you don't know.
Maybe he's just like the T-1000.
Ah.
Because he took a shotgun to the chest.
True.
And was fine.
And also, what's his plan? He has been dead. He has been proclaimed dead.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna go back to Takaran or whatever the fuck he lives at, and take the technology with me, and we're gonna rejoice with it and do all this stuff, and yay us and our awesome sponge-like faces.
Well, you know what it is? Now that he's flown into a star, that's the only way he can come ever again. So he's gonna need that.
I mean, I guess he knows his body would eventually have been delivered to his people. And then he would have been like, no, I'm not dead. Don't
I
protect me.
wonder how often their people have bodies sent to them just to not be dead, and they're like, oh, yep, Ralph's back.
Yeah, they have to do a test first.
Ralph.
See, actually, it was a big problem on that world before they discovered space travel. People would fake their own death so they could get shipped home for cheap. It's like, okay, so we'll take the train down, but then we'll just die and get shipped back home.
Well, they must be spending a fortune in coffins.
Yeah, but did he have the tech? Like,
maybe he was gonna, like, swipe it from the computer when no one was looking?
see, like, I'm like...
How did he know to go in the shuttle with Bev?
Because he'd been conscious while she was, like, woodly-wooing him.
So, and he knew she was going into the shuttle?
Maybe he just started following her.
And he could beat her there with no one seeing?
Maybe
See-
he had molted, and she was actually autopsying his shell, and the real guy was just walking around.
And didn't notice that those 3 hearts weren't actually there?
Yeah.
3
See-
hearts?
There were like 3 hearts.
Yeah.
If this was a more hardcore mystery episode, we never would have seen Ogawa ever again after this.
Ogawa kicked some ass this episode.
Well, she should have gotten in some trouble, I think.
Yeah,
No
she was breaking the law, breaking
No
the
one
law.
on the Enterprise faces consequences
No, it's
for
true.
anything.
Oh yeah, that's
That's rule number 1 of Starfleet.
Spock can go to Talos whenever he fucking
Yep.
wants because he's Spock.
Yep.
But I also
Kirk
I don't
can
know.
steal whales.
Like I
Borrowed. He
so
borrowed
this whole
them.
thing is that the reason.
he
So
stole
it wasn't Picard didn't like fire her because he was mad. She was relieved because
She fucking
uh,
shat all over the burial.
yeah, but
Like-
yeah, but I feel like honestly that would be a slap on the wrist. From based on what we've seen in other, like considering how regularly the Prime Directive gets shat upon, like I don't know. I just feel like
Gee, thanks,
I
Admiral
feel like
Settee.
I feel like this was a little over the top with the punishment, you know, and really it was just an excuse to give, you know,
Guinan some screen time
Yeah.
when she gets to give Bev a pep talk.
yeah, pretty much.
It was a pretty bad pep talk, even for Guinan. I was kind of like,
Yeah.
really? Because I'm used to Guinan bringing her A game, and
No,
this
you
just
You didn't seem enthused by the end, where we learned that Guinan, who had gone to Bev with tennis elbow, admits, "Oh, I don't play tennis. I didn't have tennis elbow. I just probably knew you needed some help."
it was just a cheesy thing for her to do. I
It
don't
was
know.
very Guinan, I thought.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I thought it was cheap even for Guinan. I don't know. I
Not a good season for
expect more
Guinan.
from Guinan. That's
So,
all. And it's not Guinan's fault. I mean, the writers.
Yeah,
fault,
I'm sure they realized, fuck, we've got Whoopi, write her in. I don't care what her lines are.
so Bev was in trouble because she did the
I don't care what her
autopsy.
lines are.
Say that again, Jake.
Bev was in trouble because she did the autopsy, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, because she what's it called?
Disobeyed.
Thank you. A direct order to
Yeah.
not do it. So
And
not only was he explicitly like, "Don't fucking do this," while she was flipping him the bird for his orders, she was also violating like burial
Right.
laws of a federation. Are they no, they're not Federation, are they?
The Ferengi?
Well, maybe they wanted to be someday. Not anymore. You fucked it up.
What? Yeah,
We
the
killed
Ferengi. The Ferengi do not want to join the Federation.
The socialist paradise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. Shh, they totally do.
Anyway, well, no, so, okay. Now, she goes and she solves the murder. Does that negate? Like, it's just like all is forgiven?
How much? Okay, here's a fun question. How much do you believe Bev when she comes back in the shuttle and is like, "I figured it out. Joe Brill did it. He wasn't dead. He was alive, and he was on the shuttle with me." And they're like, "Oh yeah, where is he? Oh, well, he's not there anymore."
Yeah, this feels like another, oh yeah, it was the dog all along, and I took care of it.
Joe Brill ate my
Okay,
homework.
Shorty.
I-
Joe
that's-
Brill my homework! Oh, Ames!
Nice. I mean,
Very good.
in
Very
reality,
good.
though,
Yeah.
much better. In reality, though, they probably have internal scanners on the shuttle that can show it.
But they definitely cannot do autopsies.
They can probably
was
scan the
turned
rug
off.
and be like, "Oh, yes, here's some molecules that were probably job
Oh, that's
lots."
probably true. They can tell when phasers have been fired. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Although she could have just been firing around.
Somebody,
Well, no, but then
somebody
there'd be
walks
damage
into
on
the
the
shuttle
walls.
and they're like, whew, smells like burning Joe Brill in here.
But yeah, no, and I mean, I know this is not like directly at all what they were going for, but all I could think at one point was when she was going around trying to be detective, especially when she was failing to interrogate the other scientists.
Oh, yeah, when she had the Klingon, when she started the Klingon and...
Oh God, yeah.
Gets thrown across the room.
You're gonna have to throw me harder. It's like, fuck, you are not the badass you think you
No,
are.
Bev, she will break you in half. You're not very strong.
That was also like a don't hurt yourself, Gates.
Yeah, and again,
delivery.
just like in Aquiel, why is Beverly investigating this murder?
Seriously,
Like,
ask Worf to handle it. Ask anyone
I
else
had-
from security.
When it turned into this mystery, I'm like, why are you letting Bev do a mystery? You have Sherlock Holmes, Data, right over
Yeah.
here. She goes to Data at one point to be like, hey, Data, what would happen on a shuttle if blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah happens? And he's like, oh, well, I believe this. And like, good, bring Data with you to help with the mystery. He's great at mysteries.
Yeah.
He is good at mysteries.
Oh, but that's before I interrupted myself. What I was gonna say was like, it feels like they were trying
Interrupted.
to.
I'm sorry, before you jerked yourself? What did you just say?
interrupted myself.
Okay, great.
It felt like they were almost trying to do like fucking Beverly Crusher's Murder She Wrote, and it's like you are no fucking Jessica Fletcher. Sit down.
So few people are,
Yeah,
though,
but this one definitely had airs of Aquiel for me. Just
Airs of
because of that,
Aquiel.
there's like, it's another murder mystery that turns out to not be a murder.
Mhm.
It's a
Well, there's a
Starfleet
murder eventually.
It's a
Yeah.
Starfleet officer going way outside their wheelhouse to both, investigate, well, really just to investigate a murder.
Everything she did
not
was...
their job.
In which it's a stretch by the writers that they're even doing it.
Even assembling the scientists was like, she was already way outside of her fucking wheelhouse.
And why was she the only one working on this? It's a ship of 1,000 people. She can find someone in the right field to help with this.
You know what this just proves?
Why was Data not interested in watching this shuttle do a thing?
It's a good point.
Not only do they need a ship's lawyer, they need a ship's detective.
Well,
like,
so
at some point...
that's Worf's job.
Well, actually, it was Dixon Hill's job, but he was already not interested.
I mean, you could theoretically have the chief of security, but have him have a separate underling who handles and reports to him and handles detection. But yeah, like there should be someone, either the chief of security or someone on the chief's staff, who is just like, at some point you go like, fuck. There's whodunits afoot. Call the ship's detective. They like work once a year. I can pull him out of mothballs. It's fucking Peter Falk in a yellow fucking jumpsuit that doesn't fit quite right. Hey, Daddy, one more thing there.
Well, I mean, Worf did like in the drumhead, he was conducting the investigation until Satis showed up.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there should be a designated ship's PI.
Yeah, sure. But it shouldn't be just whoever happens to be closest to the deceased at the time.
Yeah, because you definitely don't have any horse in the race.
No.
I also noticed this episode, as usual, as always, every episode, you can just take shuttles whenever you fucking want.
Yep.
They'll say, oh, someone's taking a shuttle. Wonder who it is.
All the incidents they've had,
is.
and they still don't lock the fucking shuttle back.
They did say that there was a way, they asked Worf or somebody, hey, override the shuttle, bring it back in, and he's like, oh, can't do it. But still, that was a new feature that I hadn't noticed, but that I don't think they've used before.
Yeah, remember when that kid stole a shuttle and almost killed himself?
Yep.
Little Jake.
You think after that they just would have started being a little more careful?
I mean, if they were more careful every time a kid got somewhere they shouldn't have got because there weren't locks, there'd be no fucking show, basically.
That's when you don't have kids on the fucking ship, and then it's solved.
Oh, yeah.
Good one. Good one, Star Trek.
I don't think I figured this episode out. I think I remembered it partway through.
What, you mean Joe Brill being
being alive.
The lady in waiting?
Because, I remembered... Because this is one I must have seen, because I'm like, oh, right, this is the one where she does an autopsy where she's not supposed to. But that was going in all I remembered. Mm-hmm. And then at one point I was like, I bet Joe Brill, because of his weird physiology, is actually alive. But in retrospect, I'm like, fuck, was I clever, or did I just remember more than I thought I did? Because I feel like it could still be kind of obvious. Even if you've never seen it, because it's like, we've introduced this new race and made a big point about how wacky their physiology is. Like, it feels like, if you've watched enough Star Trek, you could be like, okay. Plus, the Klingon is way too obvious.
Well, yeah, I knew it wasn't going to be the Klingon, especially when she started getting shovey. Well, I was like, okay, definitely not you then.
Well, and on the other hand, this is going to sound weird, but, the Vulcan and her shitty husband were too...
shady.
Too obviously shady.
No, I mean, maybe it's just because I'm a product of my time, but I figured the white guy must have done it.
How many Vulcans have a thing for humans? I thought it was unique to Sarek.
Exactly, too.
No, see, I read the synopsis of this episode going in, and either I misread it, or I forgot how it ended going in. Because for some reason in my mind, I was like, oh, Joe Brill has this, is a special type of race of thing. And I managed to combine it with Aquiel. And in that, when he died, his body would create a clone of himself or something. Or whatever killed him.
You thought he was a Time Lord?
Yeah, or he killed somebody else, but then that thing took his form. It got really confused in my brain. I was watching this being like, so that's not really him. He's something else. Because he's actually still alive, but I don't know what this corpse is. Not entirely thinking that he's playing possum, because I forgot. I forgot it all.
I gotta admit, I think I do like a... Shit, I think it was you, Jake, who suggested, maybe he could have just left behind, a shell. That would have been better. Like, if he was able
Bev would have figured it out immediately.
Or maybe he had, some kind of, a mitosis ability or something.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was one thing that was stupid. he had, like, traces of tachyons or whatever,
Yeah.
which would have been the case if there'd been sabotage. But we know there actually hadn't been, so why the fuck did he have those tachyons, after all?
Didn't he sabotage it himself?
Yeah, I think he sabotaged himself knowing that he would be able to survive.
Oh, so sabotage still happened.
Yeah, he still sabotaged
okay,
it,
I thought he
believe,
just faked it. Okay, that would make some sense.
Yeah, he just
Oh,
sabotaged
okay.
it to discredit the other guy, and then so he could steal it,
the idea.
steal it for
Right.
himself.
Yeah, he's like a super modern day Edison.
Yeah, exactly.
Edison was always sabotaging himself.
Well, I just
Really
meant always stealing other people's shit. It was more what I was getting at.
Dead piece of shit.
Killing elephants and whatnot.
Oh, that asshole.
I know. I can't imagine killing an elephant.
No.
I can't even imagine killing an elephant, like,
If it were attacking you?
No, well, yeah, I mean, not that either, but, like, because, you know, like, obviously they're super poached so people can, like, get their trunks, or their trunks, their tusks. I feel like even if I was like, yes, this is going to be $20 million, which
This
I
is going to be
guarantee...
2 billiard balls.
You know what I read recently? Speaking of elephants, is there's a population of elephants in Africa that have been hunted for ivory for a long time and like really severe, and in the current generation of that group of elephants,
Are they born tuskless?
they're being born tusk like normally, like in just normal situations, like 3% of elephants are born without tusks. It's pretty.
Because the ones that survive are the ones without tusks.
Yeah,
because no
but
one's
now
hunting them.
because so it's like literally like natural selection, well, unnatural selection in play. So now you're seeing that like a much higher percentage, like 30% of elephants in the latest generation are tuskless because those genes are just now those are the genes that suppress tusks are more advantageous for survival.
What now, poachers, you dumb fucks?
Yeah.
That's
What
like
now,
the saddest
creationists?
thing I've ever heard.
Well, it's simultaneously sad, but also just kind of like...
Maybe there's hope for elephants.
Well, that and it's almost like nature being like, hey, fuck you. What now? Huh? Yeah, fuck you.
My elephant's going to sit in your head.
I mean that's like exactly how natural selection works. Is
Yeah.
if you have a trait that makes you more likely to survive versus other members of your species, then
You pass on those
then you
traits.
will be the one to pass on the genes, and therefore the next generation will have Data and Geordi and Riker.
Do you think the next generation
God
of...
damn you, Jake.
Do you think
I'm
the
just-
next...
I'm just
Wait,
picturing-
was this whole thing a joke?
No, that's a legit thing.
Okay.
I'm now
Read
picturing an
recently.
elephant with a visor
Yes.
and a really pale elephant with yellow eyes. God help me. Yellow
God help
eyes.
me, yellow eyes.
And an
Also,
elephant-
it almost
an
sounded a
elephant
little
with-
bit like your yellow lion.
an elephant with big curly hair that annoys all the other ones by reminding them that it's an empath.
I like the
I thought
idea
you were
that
talking about O'Brien.
I like the idea that in the 24th century, elephants, despite being hunted to near extinction now, manage to survive, but French doesn't.
That is funny. Oh god, that reminds me, Troy.
Troy.
There's a bit where she's like, Captain, I'm worried about Beverly. I've been trying to talk to her all day.
Oh yeah, Troy got the token line
Yeah,
this episode.
she's been avoiding me. And he's like, I'm not surprised. And I just wanted him to be like, no one wants to talk to you. Especially when they just want to be left alone to sulk, you fucking pestering
sulk
bitch.
and solve
But I'm an
mysteries.
empath!
Oh my god, we know!
Why don't you go tell somebody's dad to write a contract for them to follow again, you dumb bitch?
Yeah.
That was so stupid.
That was the fucking worst. That really was, like, just her. Like, I just imagine her sitting there, like, filing her nails, like, huh? Yeah, why don't you, pop some bubblegum? Go write, like, a contract or some shit. Give me a call.
tap your ear.
Call
a
me in
little
a
bit.
month or so. Let me know how it goes. Like...
Troy is better now that she wears a uniform.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what I noticed, though? They really paled her up in one of these 2 episodes. I don't remember which one it
Always
was.
got really light.
But I feel
base.
like they've been lighter facing her since she got into the new
I think it
uniform.
might be there's bigger contrast because the top of her uniform
Is
is
darker?
black. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I'm
She's
just
al-
like,
they
Jesus,
always
she looks
put
like
a
a
ton of
fucking
powder on her.
ghost. Because she's, like, naturally got, like, a little bit of color to her.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
she's got kind of
Can
almost
you
a
say that?
Mediterranean.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, no, she's definitely like...
I think you can say
think
someone's got a complexion. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I
I
said,
just want to make sure. I don't want to offend Marina Sirtis.
I mean, she's English. You can't offend her.
The English are very
She's-
easily offended.
She's...
Whoa!
they're too busy making fun of themselves before anyone else can.
She's
I hope no
English.
English people listen to our show because, oi, governor!
I hope all of them do. Just because I love English people.
No, you don't.
I do.
Do you really?
Yeah, are you kidding?
The English?
Yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, you know, the ones that aren't awful, like UKIP.
Well, yeah,
I don't
but
know what-
like,
I don't know
that's
what a
sort
man
of...
is.
It's their nationalist party.
Doesn't that kind of
Oh,
go
it's a
without
thing.
saying, though? I
I
mean,
thought it was a person.
I don't like the nationalist party in this country. Why would I like that?
I'm saying, you know, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, we shouldn't be tossing stones in terms of
Oh, no, I'm not. I mean, we're
shitty groups of
fucking-
politicians.
yeah, no, we got them too. I'm just saying.
Oi, we weigh people in stones.
That's true.
When you go to the doctor's office,
Docties?
they
What?
put you on a big scale with stones on one side and you on the other, and they see how many stones they put on that side until you lift up.
Still less offensive than Lin-Manuel's Miranda's
Lin-Manuel's Miranda.
Yeah,
You
Lin-Manuel.
betcha.
Did that movie come out?
Miranda Class's accent.
Did
in,
that
Oh,
movie
no.
happen?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Did
dude.
you see it?
I did.
Was it garbage?
No, it was fine.
I don't remember hearing much about it.
It was fine.
People liked it.
Did they?
Are we talking about Mary Poppins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Golo set?
none of the
Well,
songs are.
but you've been enjoying the soundtrack. You bought the soundtrack.
No, it was free on Amazon, so I've been listening to it.
Oh.
Like, none of the songs are super memorable. They sometimes get stuck in your head. Ben Whishaw can sing, which was a shock.
Is that Q?
yes.
It's Q, right?
James Bond Q?
Yeah,
not
wrong cue.
Q.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking that.
Lesser cues.
But, you know, it was fine.
Yeah, but Q's been
didn't-
around for longer than that Q. I mean, not Ben
I have
Whishaw
no idea
himself.
what you're saying.
So confusing though.
I'm
But yeah,
saying-
no, it's
James Bond Q predates Star Trek Q.
That's
Yes.
what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was
Thank
as someone who adores the original very, very much, it was cute and, you know, it was kind of, you know, it was like The Force Awakens. It was like, we're going to hit all these same notes you remember, but slightly different. And I was like, it's
Updated
fine.
for today.
Yeah, and, you know.
Look at all the money we can use now.
Yeah, and so it was fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't adore it, but, you know, Lin-Manuel Miranda did a fine job of having a terrible British accent like Dick Van Dyke before him.
And I heard Dick has a cameo,
He does! It's
which
sweet.
is
Aw, that's
fucking
cute.
delightful.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I was really excited when I heard that. That actually made me, like, my cynical heart be like, oh.
Yeah, no, and his scene is great.
Is he the old bank owner again?
He's in it. I
Yeah,
shan't get into
Lin-Manuel's
details.
American, isn't he?
Yeah, but again, so was Dick Van Dyke. So
Yeah, I know, but yeah, it's like how in I was gonna say in Star Trek they replaced
Is Lin-Manuel... What, you said Lin-Manuel Miranda?
Yeah, he's American.
American.
I thought he was Puerto Rican.
Well, that's the same
That's
thing.
Americans.
Oh, well, we don't act like it is.
That's
That's
No, well,
unfortunately
that's certainly
true.
true, but he is technically American.
But yeah, no, he's American, and it does play sort of the equivalent to Bert. He is Jack the Lamplighter.
Oh, I see. Okay, well there you go. Anyway,
Yeah, sorry, that was
Well,
weird.
we're
I
not gonna-
apologize.
No, I was
caught
just curious. I hadn't. I remember seeing ads for it, and then I didn't see anything of it. Did Dumbo come out?
that. No, that's still coming. I think
Ugh.
spring
that
or
looks
summer.
terrible. Although it
That's
does
a
have
bad
Danny
idea.
DeVito, so
It looks terrible,
Is
but I
he
do.
playing Dumbo?
I think he's playing the
Not even in
I
makeup.
think he's playing the circus man guy.
Yeah, he's like the
The
ringmaster.
ringleader, yeah.
I will say I don't
Ringmaster,
want to
yeah.
see the movie, but I would like to see like clips of Michael Keaton's scenes because he's the bad guy, and that motherfucker plays a great bad guy.
Wait,
Bad guy in
Danny
Dumbo?
DeVito? Yeah.
What's the bad guy in Dumbo?
The guy that takes her mom away. The mom away.
Wait a
Shit.
minute. So this movie has Danny DeVito and Michael Keaton, and we're not super stoked for it.
Dude, because first of all,
'Cause
Dumbo
it's-
was a shitty movie when we were kids. Now it's even worse, and they're making fucking
Tim
they're letting
Burton
Tim Burton make
Hasn't
it.
made a
Oh,
good.
it's Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tim
Yeah,
never
Burton-
do you
mind.
start to understand?
Tim Burton hasn't made a good movie in 18 years.
What's the last good movie you think Tim?
Big
Burton?
Fish.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, I
going
was
to
gonna
say
say
Big Fish.
probably-
Big Fish is the one.
See, I've never seen Big Fish.
Oh, it's
Oh, Big
amazing.
Fish is really good.
I know. I
also,
really want to
It's
see
like
it.
it's a tear.
I know it's
jerker.
one of Chris's favorites, and I
It's
kind of am
no,
like,
it's one
why
of
have
my
I not
favorite
seen this
movies.
yet?
But I legit think Tim Burton should have stopped at that point because he clearly said everything he'd ever been trying to say as an artist at that point. He should have moved on to writing like creepy children's books,
Everything since then has just been him crying about his failed relationship with his dad, apparently.
which to an extent is what Big Fish.
Yeah, that's what
is
Big
about,
Fish is
but
too.
Oh, well,
It
I
was
haven't
done
seen
much
it.
more-
I don't know.
It was done much better.
But like, yeah, and also,
Also, it's really weird that movie. Speaking of poor Danny DeVito,
yeah.
Danny DeVito is a short man, but he
Yes.
is technically not like a little person.
Right.
Or
Sure.
He's just a short man.
Slightly too big to be a little person.
But he's
Go
next
figure.
to Deep Roy in some scenes, and he has like maybe 8 inches on Deep Roy.
Yeah, well,
Who's Deep?
he's like he played all of the Oompa Loompas in the Tim Burton.
In the Tim Burton.
More importantly, he was inside the puppet suit in the Talons of Wang Qian.
What's of that?
He's like
Old Doctor Who.
he's a famous small actor.
Yeah. He was also, I think, inside...
Talons of Wang Qian.
He might have actually been inside a suit in a new Doctor Who as well. He might have been an alien in Star Wars. And he's in all sorts of things. But he is often
He's
in
in all
suits.
sorts of little suits, yes.
He is
understand.
often in suits, yes. Anyway, sorry, we keep tangenting. Jake, you were going to
There's
take
nothing
us
else
out.
to say on this episode.
Yeah, I
We've
think
done
we
it.
have said all we have to say.
We've succeeded.
We've gone into talking about Tim Burton movies, so at that we can wrap it up.
Yep.
So, next week on our show, A Star to Star, we will be talking about 2 episodes of The Jex Generation.
Ooh.
Rightful Hair
Oh.
and Second Chances.
Does Patrick Stewart, does Jean-Luc get plugs in?
Yes. No, Worf finds the lost hair of Kahless.
Oh.
Anyway,
Is it Alexander?
well, Kahless famously threw his hair into a volcano to forge a bat'leth
What?
that he used to strike down the gods.
What?
Why do Klingons believe this shit?
Klingons are idiots. I don't think they
Yeah.
believe it. It's a mythology, right? You know, it's like a Zeusy thing.
People may have believed that.
Well, I mean, they did, and also consider the mythology that, Christian people believe.
That's also true.
So,
So
it's really nice mythology and everything.
So anyway, yes, next time we have Rightful Heir and Second Chances. So we are looking forward to that. Until then, find our internet on Facebook. Search for Star to Star by, and you can
Accurate.
also find us on Tumblr and Twitter too
Tumblr.
at SSHB Podcast.
Would Tumblr be some kind of... Is that a Vulcan name? Tumblr? It must be, right?
T''Umblar.
Yeah,
Tumblr.
you're right.
We're also,
Actually sounds
you
right.
can download our music on iTunes and Google and other podcasts. And, as always, on our home on the web on SoundCloud. And that is it. So, until next time, my name has been Jake.
This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
And this is always Caitlin. Peace out, bitches.
There we go.
Jake didn't try to do a line at the end there.
Ba-da-boo-ba-doo-boo. Wow! It was.
Shitty.
Fat Bastard was hilarious.
No.
I loved Fat Bastard. Don't fucking judge me.
There was a period of a year where
Even as a kid, I knew that movie was
you
bad.
couldn't get
Oh,
away
wow.
from I ate a baby.
Oh, you couldn't.
Yes, and I was the one who would do the impression. I was the person
God.
people loved seeing
as
do
a
that.
as a person of
size?
you didn't find this offensive.
No, here's the thing. No, because when you're a person of size, if you can reference fat jokes and get people to laugh with you, you can get them to not laugh at you, or at least not to your face, because they think you have value. At least
They think you ate a baby.
Wow,
Yeah.
this just got dark.
No,
Yeah.
seriously though, it's true. It was a coping mechanism. Anyway,